welcome to another episode of Charge the Line with your host Roger Narvaez and my co-host Tony Perez. We have some good stuff we want to talk about today. There's been a lot that's gone down since the last time that we both sat down together, both in our personal lives, but also just everything. The Charlie Kirk assassination. We talk about the 10 Commandments in the classrooms. We've talked about, or we've heard about, Austin Fire Department going to a 4896. So there was a lot of stuff that we had that we wanted to cover and that we probably will cover on down the road. But for today, the first thing I want to get into is, you as a assistant chief had an opportunity to go up there and experience something that a lot of people, I guess the weight of it and the greatness of it really don't get. It's one of those things like you have to be there to really get the full grasp of how important it is. And that is one of the International Association of Firefighters Fallen Firefighter Memorial. It happens every year in Colorado in about this time of the year. What was the exact date, Tony? You remember?
The ceremony was on September 20th.
Okay, so September 20th, you went up there. For you guys that are members of the podcast that have been keeping up, you know that we lost a brother last year. Mark Solis lost his battle to cancer. And this year he was honored as his cancer was deemed occupational and him getting it and then ultimately passing because of it. So it was considered a line of duty death. So I wanted to talk to Tony a little bit about that and just get his experience, his feedback, and just kind of see what all that entailed. So first of all, you went up there and you were only up there a couple days.
Yeah, we went up there with the intent to just make it to the ceremony. That's what we were going for. So drove up on a Thursday evening, drove through the night, did some of the events that they have a huge parade. And just so to kind of describe it a little bit, this is a ceremony where they're honoring and memorializing the firefighters that lost their life on the line of duty for the previous year. But as the years go on, they sometimes initially something isn't deemed as a line of duty death, and then later on, because of presumptive laws or because of more information, they deem it as a line of duty death. So not only was it all the 2024s, there was some other ones for a total of, over like 300 people that they were memorializing. So huge event, all the families, you can imagine every firefighter's families is there along with their department representing, and then honor guards and pipes and drums from all over the nation. Even departments that maybe they don't have anybody on the list, they still send their pipes and drums, and even for us. So we send a small team every year. Last year, with the anticipation of us going to be involved in this ceremony with Mark's memorializing Mark, we knew we were going to have a big presence. So we sent the whole team last year, like a big team last year. And then we actually had a big team this year. We got to see them on Friday. That was pretty cool too. So all these departments all over the nation and all their teams, their pipes and drums teams, their honor guard teams. I mean, everybody in their dress A uniforms. I mean, just a really well put together event, very organized for what it is. Just so many people. And so we were able to kind of participate in some of the stuff on Friday, attend the ceremony on Saturday, spend time with the family, and then even have a big dinner Saturday night. And then everyone's catching flights. And we drove, one of our friends and I drove up there together. So had to turn around and come back Sunday. What we left early Sunday morning to get back.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that in the first place, man. That driving, we've talked about it before. I think I hit like a wall at like 4 hours, and then it's
way longer than 4 hours. It's 14 hours one way, and then coming back you lose some time. You lose the from mountain time to central time, so you lose an hour coming back. So it took us a little longer coming back, but The first one through the night, following another firefighter that was going up there, we were following him. Actually, it wasn't bad at all. Just drove through the night, kind of shared it a little bit, and getting up there in the morning, just ready to get some breakfast with our other firefighters that were up there. So it was it was good. It was
That's
a way
awesome,
we
man.
get there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think people don't really understand, and some of the listeners might not, presumptive cases of firefighter on duty deaths, or line of duty deaths,
Yes.
I should say. And what that is for all you guys that are listening is, it's obvious, and especially since I don't know if 9/11 is really what spurred it, but I know that there was a lot of cases. There's still people, as we talked about with Captain Lee Rogers in one of our previous episodes, that are still passing away from that exposures that they dealt with while on duty. And for us, I'm 20 years in, 24 years. A lot has changed, and one of those things is the awareness of the carcinogens and the plastics that are burning, and what they produce, and everything, all the new oils and laminates that all our furniture. I mean, you look at this table sitting here, and once this stuff lights up, it's not putting off good stuff. And so throughout the years, there have been plenty of firefighters that live a healthy lives and don't have anything wrong, and then all of a sudden, they have this cancer that pops up. And so now, at least, there's been federal recognition of that, governmental recognition of that. And so now these presumptive cases are being tied back to those exposures that we face.
So it's only on certain types of cancers. And
Right.
so for certain types of cancers that are identified by these laws, it is presumed that the cause of those cancers was due to the line of work that we were in. So when you can tie it together, then it can be coded down as a line of duty death. And what does that do for you? Well, there's benefits that the family, gets because of that.
It's not for you, right? It's your family that's ultimately left to deal with everything, and this definitely helps them.
Yeah, a lot of the benefits, some financial benefits, but even some of the stuff that, throughout your career, you have your leave and stuff that you've accumulated. And when that happens, then you're able to, have all that leave given to your family, as opposed to just losing it,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of benefits to it.
Well, that's good, man. I'm glad you got to go out there. I'm glad you got to experience that. I wish I could have gone. I was planning on going. Of course, at that time I was working 40-hour week, so things were a little bit different. But I'm glad at least you got to go up there, and I know you sent some videos. I'll probably upload them on the YouTube channel when I edit this and show. I know you sent the pipes and drums. And
Yeah, so the
pictures.
pipes and drums, let me talk about that for a little bit. It's the most sets of pipes and drums I've ever seen in one place. It's like a huge parade that they do. Hundreds of teams. And these teams, it was pretty cool, along with the honor guard. The park that it's set up, and it's free of charge. Like anybody that's going through Colorado Springs can go to this park. It's in the middle of town, and it has the granite walls up with it has the memorial actual statue that's there, and then it has the granite walls that have all the names engraved. And I've been to DC, where I've seen the World War II memorial, and I've seen the Vietnam memorial, and those are like honor those victims very well. It's it's well taken care of. The grounds are well taken care of, and it's the Colorado Springs Fire Department that takes care of this memorial, and it is clean granite floor, granite walls. It looks amazing. The grounds have the greenest grass you've ever seen, soft grass. It's well taken care of, and because of what it is. And all these pipes and drums and honor guard teams set up camp, and they set up their canopies, and they all have their marked canopies. And it was so cool because a lot of them are selling shirts and selling their merch from their department, and I didn't realize that. As I should have, been more prepared to share trade shirts or whatever. But it's so territorial, so you had like all the departments that were like when we walked up through the deal, and it was really cool that all the departments on the East Coast, you had right off the bat with Boston and New York were set up on one corner. Then you had like kind of the West Coast. We saw a bunch of Arizona teams, California, New Mexico. Then you saw Texas, and the Texas flags were flying. It was San Antonio. Beaumont had a team out there. We were out there. Obviously Austin was out there. So it was just really cool how that was all set up. And these guys that do that and they volunteer to participate, they went up there on Wednesday and had practices. They would have to go to practice all day because you can imagine this is a well-coordinated event. People have to be...
You don't want to be messing it up.
You don't want to be messing... You want to honor these guys, right? So some of our firefighters that were on the honor team, on the honor guard, actually are presenting the flags to the families. Oh, so one of our own presented to Angela. But another firefighter that was there from Canada didn't have anybody, no one from their department came down to present the flag. So one of our other members, Cassie, had the honor of presenting the flag to that family.
Oh, nice.
So just amazing. And they have to rehearse all that. So they worked long hours. That last night, Saturday night, we all went to dinner. And I could just see it in their faces. They were glad it was over, but at the same time, they were tired, because they were all flying back. Carl drove with all the equipment, so some were driving, some were flying. But it's kind of like when we had the funeral in town. It was like the way our chief said, it was like one of the most beautiful services that you hope you never have to go to again. I'll go back to Colorado Springs, I'm sure, at some point, but I just hope that I'm not having to go back to honor one of our guys that's putting their name up on the wall.
Yeah, man, that it was definitely great for you to experience that. Unfortunately, the set of circumstances is not something anybody ever wants to have to take part in. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, just last year alone, line of duty deaths reported by National Fire Protection,
NFPA,
and National Fire Protection Association. I was getting my words jumbled, but they are essentially that's who we look at with our guidelines, and they're really big on statistics and bringing awareness to certain safety aspects of the job. And so they reported last year that 64 firefighters passed away, and out of that 64, 75, approximately, it said 75% were from cancer. So that just goes to show, it's the silent killer, right? It's the thing that we don't see. It's us being in the smoke, not using our self-contained breathing apparatuses. It's us not washing, taking a bath after fighting a fire. It's us, being in the same, not ever washing your hood,
some of the practices.
Yeah. It's a lot of that. So,
a lot of it early in the department, we didn't know, we know now, we do our best to, be cognizant of those things, but, early on, we didn't know a lot of these things. And so, you talked about the numbers from NFPA. And so these numbers, with what they recognize in IAFF is different. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things I want to talk about. You talked about the silent killer of cancer, but I wanted to talk about another thing that's kind of unspoken and silent as well. And I recognize that the IAFF does recognize PTSD, even though the fire service hasn't necessarily taken it on as a line of duty death. It's not tied to line of duty deaths yet. The IAFF has, it's the International Association of Firefighters, right? It does recognize. And so the numbers there was more. And the reason being was because they were tying some to PTSD. So multiple departments, one that I know of with multiple firefighters that were there. They were there to support these families because of suicide. And so that's something that, we don't talk about a lot. We do talk about PTSD. We do have critical incident stress debriefing teams. But something like that was when I was at staff. When I came back, I mentioned it to the group. It's like, if by the time that someone comes to headquarters or I'm involved at the level that I'm at, that means they either screwed up really bad or it's way too late. Like something has broken through and it's affecting their daily life, their work.
I mean, every time it's happened that I can think of, I don't remember a time where somebody, well, and of course I don't know everybody that's gone, right? But in the severe cases that I've had where people have actually done something to other people, unfortunately, a lot of it was just hidden in the closet, feelings, emotions. Sometimes it's other use of whether it be drugs or alcohol. People start turning to things that they normally wouldn't turn to because, I don't think I was, man, I wish I could pull the place I heard it or got it from the other day, but it says something like firefighters see 500 times more traumatic events than what a regular person sees in, like, I forget what the span of time was,
Sure.
but it was something crazy. And you know, we're aware of it now out there. You know, there's definitely guys that, you know, like you were talking about our teams that we have that go and do debriefings, but it is something that does need to be recognized. And I think the most important part is it needs to be recognized by the brotherhood itself, right? Like you said, at your level, you're not going to really get the warning signs or the cry for help until it's too late, right? Until something's already happened, somebody's in trouble. It's us that, and it goes back to, you know, it's one thing to play around, it's one thing to tease each other, kind of haze each other, but it's also another thing to make sure that you check on each other regularly. Whatever somebody's going through. I mean, it used to be like, oh, if he can't handle it, oh well. Now, at least the way I lead my ship, it's like, no, back off. You know, like, hey, we all need to be on top of each other as far as making sure everybody is mentally well. Because ultimately, if you're not mentally well, you can't help me, right? And that's, I guess, a selfish way to look at it. But realistically, like, we all have to be able to operate. You know, none of us are ever going to be 100%, whether we're going through something, you know, financially, whether we're going something with our family, whatever stress we're dealing with, like, we're all going to be facing some kind of mental battle. I can think back, and there's probably only a couple of times in my life in the fire service where I was just like, everything was just perfect, you know. Everything is just perfect. Time, yeah. And so, you know, it's very important for us, any of you guys out there listening, old guys, young guys, like, we got to realize, like, that mentality has to change, of just shitting all over each other. And I use that word because it's what we see, right? It's we go from, like, we're a bunch of alpha males, right? I just experienced something recently, and I won't get into details about it, but they're a bunch of alpha males. And everybody wants to outdo everybody. Everybody wants to be like the man, the guy, right? But in reality, like, we need to be the guys that want to help each other to be the best we can be. It's like, instead of talking crap about somebody's performance, how about, like, reach out to them and help them? Now, if they don't want help, then that's different, right? Like, if somebody doesn't want help, that's different. But that's the mindset I think we got to have.
Well, and I think that that might be a mindset definitely for old. So we just had our department psychologist come talk to us as well. I brought this up at staff, and then I knew that we would be talking to our department psychologist in a big like staff meeting setting. So I was going to bring it up, and there was a few things that she said that were very interesting. And we actually, it's one of the things we always talk about, the next generation, and, you know, how bad they are, and how good we are, and you know, that's gonna to the time from the test of time that always happen. But one of the things that we can take from them is they are a lot more in tune with how they feel, and a lot of things they're a lot more accepting than the older generation, or you know, our work generation. So sometimes you need to just ask, and there's a fallacy that if you think someone's having issues that you're not supposed to talk about suicide, because then you might give them an idea, and that's someone that's that serious has already thought about it.
Yeah.
So you can talk about it. And that was the initial reason for me bringing it up, is because I was saying was that, hey, it's going to be at the captain level, the firefighter level of you're working with this person every day. You live with this person, that if you recognize something in them that's off, you need to bring it up.
You got to step up.
And it doesn't have to be in the you know, at roll call in front of everybody. But if you recognize something, you're a leader of that station. And we talked about, even if you aren't the official leader, like someone that, you know, a senior firefighter that would bring it up, like, hey, what's going on? Like, you're short on calls. Like, it might be their partner, because they're making those EMS calls together. You're not there, that notices something like, man, he's biting everybody's head off for no reason. Like, what's going on, you know? And to talk about it, and really to follow up and reach out and not nag them. But at the same time, it's like, I just know that, you know, you're better than that, or that you're not usually like that. So we want to find out why.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, that's a good way to look at it. especially from a leadership perspective, is when somebody pisses you off, and Cody actually is somebody that brought this to my attention, but it's like when somebody's messing up, like the first thing, instead of like jumping their shit or getting pissed off, or like, it's like, make sure they're okay. Mm-hmm. Like maybe, like if somebody's not performing at work, if somebody's showing up late, or if somebody, like you said, is just snapping or failing like regularly at something that they normally don't do, check on them. Yeah. Right. Check on them, because it could be something that is not something that they let anybody know about. They're holding in, and they're just trying to deal with, and they're drowning in their own.
And oftentimes the best thing that you can do is talk about these things. So unofficially, like you just bringing it out of them, trying to just start conversation just to get it out into the open, will get them talking. Yeah. And that's a part of the healing, So our psychologist was really good. Like I asked a very specific question. I told the scenario that's talked about suicide. It's not recognized yet across the fire service. I said, but what can we do as leaders in the department? Like, what do we do? And she goes, well, let me give you guys some insight. And the first thing was talking to them, and don't worry about not bringing it up, or you're not supposed to talk about that. That's a fallacy. You can talk about it. But just some ways that she just gave us, and I just jotted them down. And some of this stuff you may have heard before, but some of the stuff just resonated kind of with our lifestyle, with our, I'll explain and you'll see right away. But I think that there were good points, and this is why I want to bring them up. So the first thing that she talked about was to be present in everything that you do. And the number one thing that takes away us being present is that cell phone. Yeah. And especially you as a leader, someone's talking to you, that active listening skill, right? What are you showing them whenever they're trying to tell you one of their deepest, darkest problems, and you're like looking something on your phone? Yeah. You're saying that what's on your phone is more important than what they have to say. And as a battalion chief, I know that I've told this story before, is that I always knew when someone wanted to like talk about something, because I would visit stations and I'd be parked in the front of the station. And when I am leaving the station to go get back in my vehicle, someone's following me. Yeah. And if they're following me, then I'm going to turn around. And it's like, hey, what's going, like, what? And
they want to talk to you about something they don't want to
in
talk
private,
about in front of other people.
And I know that if it's important enough for them to approach me that way, although I always tried to be approachable, but if it was that important, that I was going to like get off the phone, drop what I'm doing, and find out what's going on. Yeah. So that's something that you could definitely take, is just being present in everything you do, and really challenging yourself to find things throughout the day that can make you be present. And right when she said it, it was like two things that just popped into my head. And it's like, maybe that's why jiu-jitsu is so good for so many people. Because as you know, when you're rolling, you have to be present. Yeah. You cannot be thinking about anything else, or you'll get choked. Yeah. And it forces you. It absolutely forces you. You walk onto the mats, and you got all the problems that everybody has, and all the things that are nagging at you. And for that 45 minutes to an hour or whatever it is, the only thing you're going to think about is how to survive and how to dominate. Yep. And that is something that's probably why it has that effect on people, because it's forcing you to concentrate on one thing. The other thing that I thought of right off the bat was weightlifting. Yeah. Doing a heavy squat, having to concentrate, keeping that core tight. There is nothing. If you lose your concentration, you've lost it. You're not going to get the weight. Yeah. And when you do that, and years of doing that and thinking about that and trying to be focused and really just tuning in with what my body's doing, how I'm using it, it's so good for you. So challenge yourself daily to be present in everything you do, and challenge yourself daily to find things that will force you to be present. I think that a lot of times we all, not necessarily brag, but we like to say things like that we're like great multitaskers, but it's that multitasking that kind of is taken away from being present.
Well, yeah, because then you're only giving half. I mean, you can't.
Something else will suffer.
Yeah, something else is suffering because you're not going all in on what you're attacking.
So with that kind of mindset of being present in everything you do, and the phone being the enemy, and she did say, like, phones are great, like the technology we have at our fingertips, like there's a place for phones, but you really have to limit yourself with it, because it's like anything else. It can be harmful as well. And so a little tip that she gave as well is this, because we work shift work, and when you come home, and, depending on what time, you come home, you get off of work in the morning. But for me, I come home 5 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever time it is to challenge yourself to either leave the phone in the car or lock it up, put it somewhere. And for 1 hour, when you're kind of just winding down with your family, to just not even look at your phone, talk about the day, talk about what you're going to do for the day, whatever it is, give yourself an hour, and you would be surprised as to how powerful that is, for one, and two, what it does to your relationships at home, because it's going to show them, like we just spoke about before, when you're on your phone and someone's talking to you, you're saying that what's on your phone is more important. It's going to show you that you're prioritizing your family and that time, that 1 hour with them. Meals, when you eat a meal together, no phones. And I think a lot of people have heard that before. And she said in their family, they even have like like if someone picks up their phone, they're like, hey, hang up and hang out. Like that's their saying. Yeah. And so they kind of just their thing that when they eat, the phones are down and they're not doing it. She talked about the F's, and this is in no particular order. You get to prioritize what they are, but faith, family, fitness, and fun, that you have to prioritize those things for yourself, and whatever order that you decide, but those things, and to give yourself, and really this is more for like a 40-hour type schedule, but you could pick the day, is that you pick one day of the week. And for a 40 hour, it's going to be Sunday. For me, it would be today, right? So your CEO Sunday, like it's me, Inc. Like you are the CEO of your company. So on Sunday, you sit down and you think about all the things that you want to accomplish this week, and you write them down. And there's things, for me, it's like in the afternoons when I have my free time, like I need to work out these days. I want to go to jiu-jitsu these days, and I'm going to write it down. And during the week, you become an employee for me, Inc. And now I work for me. And so I got to do these things. So the following week, I take a look at what I did, what worked, what didn't. You reevaluate. And I think some of that is just holding yourself accountable. Am I a good employee for my company, or am I a lazy employee for my company? And evaluate, what you're doing and how you do it and what works well, so that you can just, it's kind of like when we did the stuff with O2X, like just getting better every day, right? So every week, come up with a plan to be a little bit better. So that's another thing with those F's in mind, to try to evaluate your week to get better.
Man, I really like that, the way that she said that. You're the CEO on Sunday, so set yourself up. Make sure you're going to have your game plan of what you want to attack, and then Monday, throughout the week, you become the employee. Where you got to make sure you're doing those things, because I think it's really easy to put ourselves or our goals or our tasks that we need to knock out. It's really easy to put those on the back burner for other people, right? And that's why I think it's important that you those F's, faith, family, fitness, and then fun.
And fun. You got to schedule fun.
I think those things, and honestly, I think that's the way it's supposed to be, right? God first, then your family, then obviously taking care of yourself with your health and your fitness, and then your fun. Now your fun could be whatever. Hopefully it's something that is healthy and not.
Well, if it's spending time with your family, right? or for us, fitness is fun, right? So it's like, man, you're taking out two of them,
out, right? But I know, because I've done that before. I've eliminated, like, I've given my family and sacrificed my fitness, and I felt it. I saw myself falling into like a sort of depression and anxiousness. I almost get anxious when I don't work out, right? Mm-hmm. And so I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'll skip a workout today. And next thing I know, I'm complaining or griping, and not very enjoyable to be around, So I think it's very
everybody
important.
knows, worked out.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Own your morning and your evenings. And that one is, it goes back to the screen time. You want to start and end your day with intention. So at the end of the day, you're just, for the start of your day, before you get on your, computer or phone, you know, whether if it's prayer, you know, whatever to start your day. You know, it might be some meditation, it might be stretching, whatever it is. Do something for yourself right off the bat. This goes back to Admiral McCraven's "Make Your Bed." It's the same thing, right? Do something for yourself right off the bat, and it's not getting on your phone or logging into your email. When you end your day, end it with intention. Stay away from scrolling. So there's a whole nother topic about sleep, and she attributed sleep and talked about sleep and why it's so important, and for our line of work that it's just so bad, and that a lack of, everybody's different as far as what they can function on. Yeah. Everybody's different, but she did say that, like, it's data, like the studies show, like lack of sleep, depending on what you can tolerate, is that you literally can have psychiatric episodes from, like, your mind will not function correctly without the proper amount of sleep. Yeah. And so whatever that is for you. So the scrolling, although sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm just not thinking about anything, I'm just, you know, scrolling through.
No, your brain's working.
Your brain is it's
getting those dopamine hits.
And it's actually triggering, like, to like get excited and think about things and go and think about other things, or go down rabbit holes.
That's what I was gonna say. You hear people go down the rabbit hole. That's what that is. It's something that excites them, and then they just keep on.
And it just winds you up more and more instead of relaxing. So you really need to go back to that prayer, evaluation, meditation, whatever it is for you, to end your day with that.
I know for me personally, I started journaling at night.
Journaling is another one. Yeah.
Well, it's a devotional. So I'll read instead of the morning. Yeah. Because I'll read the word in the morning and do my studying. But in the evening, I do the devotional.
That's that evaluating.
And then and I write it, and then I don't get on my phone. I do get on my iPad and read the word. Yeah. And I'll read that, and that when I do that is when I get the best sleep. Yeah. If I stay on my phone scrolling,
it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
So to sum this up, is that being present and practicing being present, that's what actually creates resilience. And when you have resilience, you can deal with those stresses of life, whatever they are, seeing those bad things, dealing with high stress job or whatever it is. You have to build resilience in your mentality. So specifically when it came to, like, how do you talk to someone that you might think's having problems, ask questions. Talk to them. They need to talk. They need to be talking. They need to be talking about it. It's a misnomer to think like, oh, it's an uncomfortable subject, so don't make them talk. You want to encourage them to talk. The sleep health, and then just always circle back. And man, what better does it show, like, when you check on somebody? Like, if you just, like, we had this conversation, I was thinking about it, and you actually, like, follow up with them. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about you. You know, you said these things. I'll make sure you're okay. Like, if they're thinking that nobody cares about them, or that they're not loved, or whatever their thing is, you just being that person to be checking on them might be what they need. So always circle back, pay attention to patterns, because the unhealthy patterns sometimes are the problem. Did talk a little bit about alcohol. We've talked about it on this podcast before. You really want to stay away, especially if it's someone that's having those types of thoughts. Like, that's a depressant. It's not going to help them. It may help them to feel a little bit better in the interim, in the moment. They kind of make the pain go away, but they have to deal with those consequences, and you just don't know how they're going to deal with it. So, you know, stay away from alcohol in those times. And so it might be, you know, those unhealthy patterns, that might be what you recognize, like, man, we need to check on this guy, because, you know, every day off he's, you know, drinking a 12-pack or whatever it is. You know, I've been down that. I have not been down that road, but I had coworkers that was like, how much do you every day off? You know, and ask those questions, you know.
Well, and then the thing is, they think it's normal because they get acclimated to it. Yeah. And they don't realize, like, and it goes back, right? We're not going to tell anybody, and this is what they said in O2X was, they're going to tell us not to drink. They realize we're grown adults, we got to make the decision. But what are you giving up, right? Yeah. Do you have, like, for me, I used to drink before I would go to work, not like heavy, but I would have a few beers, no big deal, right? Like, but I realized the day before, but I realized, sorry,
I used to drink the day.
Well, so we get our 2 days off, right? Yeah. So the day before I had to be on shift, I would, and it would never be like in excess or anything. But if we went to go have pizza, I'd have a couple beers. Sure. Well, now I realize, like, having a couple beers, if I have to get up at 6 a.m, like, the sleep wasn't good.
Yeah.
I'm groggy.
And now you got to
it's
work a
not
full
fu-
shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's gotten to the point now where I really don't like to drink more than maybe 3 beers, period. Like
Yeah.
anything for me,
At any
for whatever
given time. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that magic number is. Now I can have a glass of wine. We bought some wine tonight. I'm gonna make some shrimp scampi. I've been chefing it up lately.
Yeah, nice.
But you know, we're gonna have a glass of wine, have some dinner. I don't really feel the effects of it from that, but there's always that deal, right? Like, what is it worth? What are you giving up in order to have this momentary
You're gonna give
enjoyment?
up some sleep, and give up some of your peace, and it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, man. Well, that was great stuff, T. That was great stuff. I know we had some other stuff that I want to talk about, but we'll save it for the next one, because that to me, that was so meaningful in that, you went and you got to experience and see, Mark being memorialized, his life being remembered. You got to see what the brotherhood is, right?
Yeah.
Like we're all alpha, we're all chingon, but that's one thing. Like, we all want to be badass. This department's better than that department. But when it comes down to it, that's the cool thing, is like, when you get us in a group like that, we're all just brothers, brothers and sisters. So, I'm glad you went to go and experience that. And I'm glad that it at least spurred, I know we talk about the fire service all the time, guys. I know we talk about jiu-jitsu all the time, but what everybody needs to realize is we're not just talking about the fire service. We're not just talking about jiu-jitsu. We're talking about life. Everything that he just said, you don't have to be a firefighter to go through these things. This could be your brother. This could be your sister. This could be your aunt, your uncle, your mother, your dad. This could be a friend that is struggling in these areas. And those ways that he just gave, this could be you. This could be you. And that's one of the first things that I have to say is, if you are struggling, if you are going through some kind of weak moment in your life, you have to help yourself. Now, that doesn't mean you've got to just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and do everything on your own. But that means you might have to tell somebody, I'm hurting, I'm struggling. You might have to swallow that pride and go to somebody. And if you have a family, you have to look at the fact that your family is counting on you. And so hiding it and suffering by yourself is not going to help you to help them, right? If you're the source that they depend on for safety, especially if you're a man, right? If you're their safety, if you're your wife's protector, if you're your kid's protector, if you're, the main breadwinner in the family, you've got to swallow your pride enough, put your ego down to say, I need help because I'm breaking and I'm not going to be able to hold them up any longer, right? So, to everybody that was listening to this, just understand, I know this is a podcast by firefighters, but in reality, it's a podcast about two dudes that are with two dudes that have been through some stuff, that are open to share their experiences, that have learned a lot from those experiences, and that just want to help other people that may be going through those things. So thank you guys for tuning in. Spread the word, spread the love. I appreciate, all the feedback that we've been getting. We just started our TikTok page, so if you guys can go like and subscribe. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're stepping up our social media game. I've been slacking, and it's something that, I really want to do moving forward. So please go like all of our stuff. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch our ugly faces on here. Well, at least my ugly face. And, with that being said, T, you got anything you want to leave off with, man?
No, man, I just appreciate you. I just want to say that I appreciate you making this happen every time, man. It's so hard with both of our schedules and everything. But I think if anything, it's like you're the ones like, no, we got to do it.
Yeah.
Set the date. I mean, we scheduled this last week, but because it really is good for both of us as well. We're talking about stuff. So, no, I just appreciate you making sure that this happens, because me by myself, I don't know if other hard, stuff man. Takes priority, and then you make it happen. You got the setup. You've dedicate yourself to do this, and I just want to give you props for that. The social media stuff, it's so beneficial, but it's so time consuming. Yeah. So props to you for taking that on and everything you're doing, and so you motivation to a lot of people, me included.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. I can't now that you're saying that, I got to give my wife props, because she's the one that, you can hear baby screaming in the background on some of these episodes. And, we're not quite there. We can get a soundproof room and all that stuff is just done in a room in our house that we set up. And, she allows me to put this on. And my whole thing with it, guys, is, no matter what you heard about me or feel about me or think about me or experience with me, I truly have a heart for people. That's why I do what I do. That's why I feel my gym is successful. And honestly, that's why I do this. It's not for anything more than hoping to open myself up and allow other people to realize that, there's people like them that are struggling. There's people that have been through it and that have made their way out on the other side of that struggle. And sometimes it's done with some tough love, because I think we all need it at times. But realistically, if this episode helps one person, if any episode that we have has helped one person to realize there's meaning to their life, that it's going to be okay, there's help out there, there's people that love them out there, and that they will see the rainbow after that storm, then all this is worth it, man. So, thank you guys. God bless. Keep fighting. Don't forget, charge that line.